Welcome to our next episode of Love and Peace in Companies Life. Today I'll be talking about from vision to action and why it is so important. Last week it was about how to find your vision, and this week it's about how to bring your vision to life. The question is, why is it so important? If I only have a vision without any action, then it remains in my head. And that's something that I sometimes experience when I talk to spiritual people, that they tell me, oh, I only have to manifest it and everything will just happen like this. In my opinion and in my experience, it's good to do both, to manifest and to believe in that things are going to happen, and at the same time to really take action. It's better to take one step in direction of my vision than just sitting and waiting for the things to happen. And by the way, what do I mean with spiritual people? When I talk about this, it's not about, let's say, right or wrong, or I don't want to distinguish people between spiritual and not spiritual. I only want to give you my own point of view of what I understand under being spiritual. And my understanding it is that I agree, or I know that there's more between heaven and earth than I can see with my eyes. I think that there is much more than I can imagine, and what I've been told when I grew up. And this for me is something which is also important. It's an important part of my life. Some people call it God, other call it intuition, other call it source. In my opinion, it's not important how you call it. It's much more important for being spiritual, in my opinion, to really believe that there are more things. And in which way you are practicing this, that's not what counts. It's possible that you are meditating. It's possible that you're listening to different authors and YouTube. For example, I listened a lot to Louise Hay and also to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is also working on the explanation in neuroscience, how our brain works, and that visualizing outcomes is already a very important step in order to realize it. And when I have imagined my goal, where I want to go with my vision, then it's also crucial to take some steps. In my experience, it is much more important to take one step than to just be sitting and waiting. Sometimes I'm asked, okay, but then I have to decide. And if I decide for one thing, then I decide against all others. What is if my decision is wrong? Yeah, this already happened to me several times, that in hindsight I would have said, okay, that wasn't the best decision. But without a decision, how could I have experienced this situation? I always say that no decision is the confirmation of the status quo. If I don't decide, I confirm that I'll be staying where I am. We all know about trial and error, and sometimes it's really about trial and error. So just let us take my example. You all know that I want to bring more love and peace into companies. And there are different ways how I can do it, how I can approach people. And one day the idea just came into my mind, why shouldn't I start streaming? And at the beginning I thought, okay, I haven't done it before. Will I be capable to do it or not? And then I thought, okay, I'll just start doing it. First, I started streaming only in German. Now I'm streaming in English as well. And the next step is to find an AI that will translate what I say automatically, so that I will stream or in German or in English, and that you as a listener will see the translation into English or into German immediately. So far, I haven't found this AI or app or what it will be, but I'm sure that I will find it. And this will also be very important when I'll be talking with interview guests, so that when I'm interviewing an English-speaking person, that my German audience can also follow our discussion. So that's what I understand as a vision and why it is so important to take a first step, not to wait. And yeah, sometimes when I listen to this live stream afterwards, I think, okay, so next time you could pay attention to this or that or whatever. The important thing is I did it and I made the experience. But why is it so important to really take action when you're working in a team? When you're working in and with a team, the team should know what is your vision. And I also know it sometimes for me, my vision, it's so clear. And then when I talk to other people, I realize that it's not that clear for them as it is for me. Sometimes I also realize that when we are talking about it, I get more clarification. And sometimes I also revise several aspects and think, okay, then it's better to maybe go this way or that way, and not to do it all on my own. There are several methods what you can do. You can also use project management, whether it be, let's say, the classical one or the agile one. That's not what it is important. It's really good to take action and to decide whether to do it as a project or not, to have a certain amount of steps and a certain direction in which you want to go, and to also talk about this direction in your team so that your team member can support you accordingly. Yes, I know that there have to be adjustments every now and then, and I think that's what it is with every project that we start, that sometimes it doesn't work as I have thought it would be, and then it's important to adjust it, to still kind of have the vision somewhere in my head, to kind of follow it, like maybe, let's say, like a leading star, or I also know people who are talking about the North Star. I also know it from my own experience that it's very good to talk about other people who are in a similar situation. And I also know that sometimes in companies, when you're really on a higher level, there are not so many people with whom you can talk. Or if you are a solopreneur, that sometimes, it's not possible to talk about a vision and action steps and all this with family members or just friends. My experience is that it's good to have somebody to talk to. And as I know this, I'm offering you a free strategic call so that we can talk about this, to know where you are, where you want to go, which steps you can take, what is good to bear in mind. I'm also very fond of mastermind groups. And that's the reason why I'm offering a mastermind group for spiritual female entrepreneurs to get connected and to talk about your ideas and my ideas. You know that my vision really is to have more peace in companies and also on this earth. I think that we really need it. We have so many, let's say, topics and also areas where there's a polarization between this and that. And for me, now it's time to build bridges and to cooperate. It's more important cooperation than confrontation. So if you are interested in joining one of my masterminds, if you would like to just connect, to share ideas, I will be very happy to receive your message. And if you can't find an appropriate date in the calendar that you can see in this video, just send me an email to info@journey.eu, or you can also send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll be very happy to hear from you, to support you, and yes, also to find more people who also would like to contribute to more appreciation, to a better atmosphere, to another attitude while working together. Please also send me your questions and what you would like to hear from me, and which topics there are there that you would like to hear and to learn more about. Wherever you are, whatever time it is now, I wish you a great day or evening or whatever. I'm very much looking forward to seeing you, and I will continue talking about this idea, vision, action, how to work in teams, how to work in a cross-cultural context, how to communicate things in an appreciative and peaceful way. So have a great day, have a great week, and see you next week for our next time for Love and Peace in Companies.